Now at 5, the suspect in a missing 4-year-old's murder is extradited back to Oklahoma. Plus, Carthage High School students put their culinary skills to the test with a food truck project. And
protesters march on Washington 50 years after Roe versus Wade. I'm Willie James Inman outside the U.S. Supreme Court with the latest amid the ongoing battle for abortion access in America.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The man charged with the murder of missing 4-year-old Athena Brownfield has been extradited back to Oklahoma. This is your KOAM News at 5. I'm Cale Chapman. Ivan Adams was arrested last week in Arizona on murder and child neglect charges in Athena's death in Cyril, Oklahoma. Alicia Adams is also charged in the case. She faces 2 counts of child neglect. Court documents show Alicia Adams claims to have witnessed Ivan severely beat Athena on Christmas and leave with her body. Athena was reported missing on January 10th after her sister was found alone by a postal carrier. The remains of a child were found during the investigation, but authorities have not confirmed they are Athena's. Freeman Health System today held a presentation about the dangers of radon and its prevalence in the Joplin area. Radon is a colorless, odorless, and tasteless radioactive gas that often occurs naturally in the basements of homes. Over time, it can damage a person's lungs and even cause lung cancer.
Such as sealing the cracks in the basement, in the garage, or installing a vent exhaust for radon. These are all the strategies that you could do to mitigate the radon risk.
The CDC says radon causes 21,000 lung cancer deaths each year. Now, some Carthage High School marketing and culinary students put their heads together to come up with a food truck project. Marketing class students divided in 10 groups to welcome up with their unique, realistic food trucks. The students came up with the name, logo, menu, design, and advertisement strategy. While a machining class created a prototype of the truck, a culinary class picked one item from the menu and created it. The marketing teacher says this lets students see real things from a real-world perspective.
They get to collaborate on something that could be realistic for them. Food trucks are booming, and so they're really popular, and they're able to kind of use those skills to see it come to life.
This is the second year the class is doing this project. Curl says they were able to make everything a little bit bigger this year. And meteorologist Sam Lane joins us.
All right, thank you very much, Kayla. It's been a beautiful day across the 4 states, lots of sunshine, nothing on radar, but that's going to be changing over the next 24 to 36 hours, and it looks like winter is going to be making a comeback. But let's enjoy this evening. 45 at 6 o'clock, 38 by 8 o'clock, 34 at 10, all the way down to 29 by tomorrow morning. Look down the lane. We're going to have some rain, a chilly rain on Saturday, and that should mix over with some snow on Sunday morning, and then a cloudy Monday and maybe a big winter storm affecting our area on Tuesday. And of course, I'll have all the details on that coming up in your forecast straight up.
Thank you, Sam. This weekend marks 50 years since the Supreme Court confirmed the constitutional right to abortion, and nearly 7 months since the justices struck it down. Today's annual March for Life protest reflected that new reality, with the anti-abortion rights movement now switching its focus to Capitol Hill. Reporter Willie James Inman has a story from Washington.
It was the first March for Life since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. But organizers say the fight to end abortion is far from over.
We will march until abortion is unthinkable.
Mississippi Attorney General Lynn Fitch helped argue the case that overturned Roe.
Together, we lead the way to a society that truly empowers women and promotes life.
The movement's focus is now on Congress and the push for legislation regulating or banning abortion. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise promised to continue that fight.
The next phase now begins, and that's what this year's march is all about. The next steps in a post-Roe era. And we in Congress, and how about my colleagues here?
To make their point, marchers changed their route this year. On their way to the Supreme Court, they passed by the U.S. Capitol to highlight the new battleground. Nearby, a small counter-protest was dramatically outnumbered.
I support women's rights and the women's right to choose to get an abortion.
In the chaotic months since the end of Roe, the nation has become a patchwork of bans and partial bans, and a severely fractured public.
No one is willing to listen to anyone, and so many problems arise from that.
President Biden released a proclamation marking the 50th anniversary of Roe and calling on Americans to work together to restore the right to choose. Willie James Inman, CBS News, Washington.
Vice President Kamala Harris will commemorate the 50th anniversary of Roe v. Wade with a speech in Florida on Sunday. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is in Ramstein, Germany, meeting with Western allies to come up with more military aid for the Ukraine. As the war grinds into its 11th month, discussions are centering on whether to supply Kyiv with tanks, with pressure growing on Germany to release its Leopard 2 vehicles. The Biden administration yesterday announced a roughly $2.5 billion aid package for Ukraine, which included more armored vehicles. Still ahead, a glimpse into the future of shopping.
Show off a product or even yourself using a hologram. I'm Elise Preston with the latest innovations retailers are using to attract customers.
And in the next Health Watch, why a new study is raising concerns about the health effects of UV lights used to dry gel nail polish. Topping today's Health Watch, getting colon cancer patients chemotherapy before surgery may have long-term benefits. A UK-funded clinical trial found chemotherapy before rather than after surgery increased the chances of destroying cancer cells, and patients were significantly less likely to see their cancer return. A new study is raising concerns about whether popular UV lights used for gel manicures may be harmful to our health. Reporter Danya Bacchus has more on the findings.
They're used regularly in nail salons to harden gel manicures, and they help give your nails a long-lasting finish. But some previous reports have suggested long-term exposure to ultraviolet rays from UV polish dryers may increase the risk of developing skin cancer.
We wanted to understand their molecular effects and their cellular effect.
Researchers at the University of California, San Diego tested nail polish drying machines commonly found in salons. In the lab, they exposed different types of cells to the UV radiation emitted from the devices. They found chronic use of the machines can lead to cell death and cancer-causing mutations in human cells.
This is very concerning because at this level, we know that these UV radiation are actually affecting the deep layers of our skin.
Cells mutated even after just one 20-minute session. Study author Maria Zivagui says they also looked at the mutation from the cell models and matched them to the data of cancer patients.
We saw that these mutations that we observed experimentally do match and resemble the mutation pattern observed in human cancers, especially the skin cancer.
And while more study is needed to determine if the machines increase cancer risk, Zivagui recommends limiting exposure to the UV radiation devices.
Make sure to use preventative measures, for example, gloves or sunscreen on the hands before going in the machine.
Because she says the reward may not be worth the risk. Danya Bacchus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The researcher also says she used to get gel manicures, but once she saw the effect radiation from devices, she had decided to stop using the technology. Researchers at Tufts University say more Americans are turning to dollar stores for groceries. From 2008 to 2020, people in low-income and rural communities, especially in the South, spent more than 5% of their food budget at dollar store chains. Researchers say those stores typically stock food and beverages lower in nutrients and higher in calories and lack fresh produce and meats. A new series in The Lancet highlights the need for one so-called One Health approach to tackle public health emergencies like COVID-19. The authors advocate for human, animal, and environmental health organizations to work together with a focus on prevention and preparedness, arguing the comprehensive global strategy would save money and lives. That's a look at today's health news. A little later, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen announces some of her changes departments are making to avoid the U.S. defaulting on its debt.
And we have a couple of winter-like systems heading our direction. I'll have all the details in your forecast when we come back. Well, friends, we have had a gorgeous January day across the area with lots of sunshine and warm temperatures, and that's what we like to see. However, winter is going to make a comeback, and it's going to be a big one. So let's take a look at the right side. Outside at Seneca, Missouri, the Indigo Skies Casino and Resort. Pretty nice evening. Not hardly a cloud in the sky, and lots of sunshine to go around, and that's going to spell some cool temperatures tonight. And over the last 36 hours, it's been kind of cool. Yesterday, we got up into the lower 40s, and then this afternoon, we got close to 50 degrees after a chilly start, but that's typical for January. In fact, we made it up to 49 today after starting out at 23, which was slightly below the normal on the low and slightly above on the high. So it all kind of evened out. 77 back in 1986, but check out the minus 12 back in 1985. It can get very cold this time of year, of course, in our area. And we're going to be seeing some winter-like precipitation as we head through the forecast. In fact, there's a winter storm advisory or winter weather advisory already in effect for northwestern and north central Kansas, just outside of our area. But we're going to watch this very closely over the next 24 hours. Radar is clear, but that's going to be changing over the next 24 hours because of this storm system that is now spiraling over the Four Corners area. That is moving towards the east, and that's going to increase the moisture in the clouds as we go through the day tomorrow, and also the rain chances, and then mixing over as we head into some colder air on Sunday morning. This afternoon, though, very nice. Temperatures in the upper 40s to right around 50 degrees. In fact, it got to 50 in Grove and 51 in Pryor. And then temperatures are now starting to fall down into the mid 40s across our area. Still a pretty pleasant evening. In fact, we're about 5 degrees warmer tonight than we were 24 hours ago. Dew points are starting to increase. They're still in the 20s and 30s right now, but that's going to be changing as we head through the evening hours as well. Currently in Joplin, we're sitting at 46, northeast wind at 7, so it makes it feel like it's 42 out there. Dew point is 30, and the pressure is falling ahead of the next storm system. Here's the rain chances over the next 36 hours. You can see rain chances increasing as we go through the day, and then mixing over once we get towards midnight, and then by Sunday morning, starting to see some of that snowflake activity in our area as well. So let's break it down for you. We're going to see temperatures tonight dropping into the 30s with mostly cloudy skies, but notice off towards the west. Here comes the next storm system. As we go through the day on Saturday, rain will start to move in from west to east with highs generally in the mid 40s. Then as we go through Saturday night into Sunday, the cold air starts to spill in, and some of this changes over to a mixture as we head into Sunday morning with temperatures in the 30s and northwesterly winds. Then by Sunday afternoon, that storm system moves away, and we'll start to see highs in the lower 40s. And then as we go through Sunday night into Monday, we're going to see lows dropping down into the 20s. But notice the clouds are starting to increase again with the next storm system as it approaches from the north and west. Rain chances are going to be low, and rainfall amounts are going to be generally light with this system. Not expecting a whole lot from it, but we're going to watch it pretty closely. Over the weekend, there's that winter mix, but then looking at some new data, the storm system on Tuesday and Wednesday is going to be a serious storm to deal with. And so we're going to have to watch that one very closely. You're going to need to tune in over the weekend to get the latest details on that. We could be seeing a significant winter storm Tuesday night into Wednesday. So we'll have to watch that very closely.
Yeah, any potential road trouble there, you think?
Oh, I think so. With that system on Tuesday night, Wednesday, we're looking at travel problems, and we'll probably have an alert day on that, but I want to wait a little bit for more data to come in, but it's looking that way right now.
Well, there you go. Thank you for the heads up, Sam. Coming up, a look at that technology that could be used in stores to attract customers. But first, we honor a local veteran. John Gilbreth served in the U.S. Army from 1968 to 1970. His hometown, Erie, Kansas. We salute Sergeant John Gilbreth, a four-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told lawmakers her department was involved in extraordinary measures after the U.S. hit its $31 trillion debt limit yesterday. Those measures, which include delaying contributions to government employee retirement funds, should allow the country to avoid default over the next few months. It's up to Congress to raise the country's borrowing cap, as it has done roughly 80 times since the 1960s. Alphabet, the parent company of Google, announced it is cutting about 12,000 jobs. Alphabet grew its workforce by more than 50,000 employees during the pandemic as demand for its digital services boomed. But in recent quarters, business has slowed for the company. The layoffs will affect roles across product areas and regions. Affected U.S. employees will remain on the company's payroll for 60 days and receive at least 16 weeks of severance pay. Technology is changing the shopping experience. Reporter Elise Preston went to the National Retail Federation's annual expo to get a first-hand look at some high-tech items retailers are using to attract shoppers.
Checking out at a convenience store is quicker than ever. The company Radius AI has a device with cameras that scan multiple items at the same time. You can skip the checkout line at the supermarket with this shopping cart from Custom-Made. There's a built-in scale to weigh produce, and products can be scanned right at the cart. Customers pay on the tablet and then walk out the door. For those looking to skip the trip to the store entirely, an electric fleet of vehicles is delivering groceries and other items without a driver.
This is a street legal vehicle. It operates up to 25 miles an hour.
The autonomous Noro can find an address on its own and is currently on roads in Northern California and Texas. Walmart, FedEx, and Uber Eats are among the companies using it, allowing customers to pick up items from their front curb. And in-store mannequins are getting a 21st century makeover. Verizon is teaming up with company Proto to produce lifelike holograms.
Why a hologram for an experience?
Well, as you can see here, it does create a very lifelike representation of actual products. So sometimes even when products are first launched, they may not actually be delivered to the store yet, but it allows you to debut and showcase items to your consumers as soon as they're released.
Verizon's Jason Stevens let us try it out. A special camera projects a live 3D image to the Proto box nearby. Inside a store, a live or recorded hologram could interact with customers.
What do you think of this look? How about I have a sales associate go grab it for you while you go check out the shoes?
Burberry is currently using it to show off clothes and bags, giving shoppers a high-tech look at the luxury brand's latest high-end items.
Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
The federal government is taking a closer look at Goldman Sachs. The Wall Street Journal reports the Federal Reserve is investigating whether the bank had adequate safeguards in place to protect consumers of its mass market lending operation. Specifically, regulators have reported have concerns about proper oversight of Goldman Sachs' consumer business, Marcus. Goldman Sachs rolled out Marcus in 2013, but it ended up losing more than $3 billion. Regal Cinemas, the second largest U.S. theater chain behind AMC and the operator of Joplin's Regal North Park Theater, has announced its closing of 39 theaters across the U.S. Joplin's Theater is not one of them, however. Regal's parent company, Cineworld, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy 4 months ago. Regal shuttered 12 other cinemas last year. The filing says the closures will begin February 15th. Around 500 Regal cinemas will remain open. And a final check of the forecast coming up next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, a look at how the skiing industry is faring through a lack of snow this year. Then on KOAM News at 6, the city of Pittsburgh provides an update on the road construction on East Quincy. Plus, we'll have more on a food truck project some Carthage High School students are taking part in. And it's semifinal night at the Bill Hanson Memorial Basketball Tournament in Pittsburgh. We'll have those highlights. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Check this out, the world's oldest dated runestone has been discovered in Norway, and archaeologists say it has a mysterious inscription from up to 2,000 years ago. Researchers at the University of Oslo's Museum of Cultural History found the stone in 2021 while investigating a burial ground in eastern Norway. Burnt bones and charcoal from the cremation pit where it was discovered revealed that the writing was carved into the sandstone boulder between 1 and 250 AD. The museum said interpreting the message is a challenging task because the way of the writing inscriptions varied, and the language changed considerably over time.
Wow.
I know, pretty neat.
Pretty
How's
neat.
that weather looking?
It's looking pretty interesting as well. We're going to have a winter mix on Sunday morning, but it looks like we're going to have a significant winter storm here on Tuesday night into Wednesday. So I did go ahead and increase that to an alert day for Tuesday and Wednesday. And then if we extend that out, we're going to have another round of perhaps a winter storm on Sunday of next week. So it's going to be very active in our area for the next 10 days. So people are going to need to tune in, check our website, and find out what the latest forecast is because there's lots of changes in it.
Gotcha. A lot coming. Alrighty, well, thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. We'll leave you with a video of a red panda at the Denver Zoo, and we'll see you again at 6.